Marvel makes banger after banger, and in today's video, we're going to go over the top 5 Marvel movies of all time. Let's get right into the video. Number 5, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Let's set aside the it's like a 70s conspiracy thriller because that's nonsense and it's trying to build up to the movie to more than it is. Just because your movie has Robert Redford and addresses political surveillance, that doesn't make you an heir to 3 Days of the Condor. What's frustrating about this description is that The Winter Soldier doesn't need it. It's an excellent film without trying to force a genre label. It's nice that the film has subtext about surveillance and that it comes with a superhero film rather than a straight drama, but again, that's nothing new. Mainstream entertainment usually carries messages about the day's current events and issues, but that's not what makes The Winter Soldier a top-tier MCU movie. It's about what the darker issues of our world mean in relation to Captain America. The folks behind Winter Soldier were smart enough to understand that Captain America is an old-fashioned throwback and that he represents what we want the world to be. There's a rich vein of conflict when he's thrown up against what cynics cite as pragmatism and viewing the world as it is. From there you get a character who lifts us up and inspires us to be better than getting us dragged down in the mud. Number 4, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is probably going to be a divisive film among MCU fans because, like Iron Man 3, it seems largely unconcerned with the plots of the other movies or even with its own plot. If you're someone who thinks that the MCU's greatest strength is in how it's basically a gigantic TV show, and that to eschew universe building is to avoid what makes the MCU unique, then GOTG2 will probably be a letdown. But if you believe that it's great when Marvel lets filmmakers tell their own story without worrying about setting up the pieces of future movies, then Guardians 2 is a rousing success. I have fallen to the later camp. It's not that I mind the movies that build connections to sequels, and the first Guardians does a nice job of balancing its own personality with links to future Marvel movies, but given the choice between leaning heavily on plot or heavily on character, I like that James Gunn's sequel chose the latter. Volume 2 isn't in a hurry to get anywhere, it splits up the team and focuses largely on the characters. There is no MacGuffin to obtain, and the movie's true villain isn't even revealed until about halfway through the picture. Number 3, Iron Man. In the history of superhero movies, the importance of Iron Man can't be understated. Here was a character that was largely an unknown, and through the strength of perfect casting and Jon Favreau's unshakable vision, despite lacking a script through production, they came away with a film that largely defined the MCU. If Iron Man had faltered in any significant way, the MCU and the landscape of superhero movies as a whole would look largely different today. As it stands, Iron Man is a joyful origin story that's incredibly well told and rests comfortably on the back of Robert Downey Jr. rebooting his career. Keep in mind that back in 2008, Downey was still a huge risk, and yet fans knew that he was an inspired choice to play narcissistic playboy inventor Tony Stark. The stuff with the suit and the action scenes were important too, but putting character and casting first became a Marvel trademark. And it's because they hit it out of the park on their first go-around with Downey. Number 2, The Avengers. Once you get past the rough opening 20 minutes, the film heats up once Black Widow goes to India to recruit the Hulk. The Avengers is pretty much the crown jewel of the MCU, and it's easy to see why every studio continues to chase its success. While they might be able to mimic the formula of a cinematic universe, there's only one Joss Whedon, and his understanding of character and tone is what carries this movie through, even though its weakest moments. Thankfully, this movie had all the building blocks it needed to be superb, and when compiled together, they make Avengers a top-notch anytime movie. This is a film I put on the background and just let it play while I'm working because it's just so much fun and I don't have to give my full attention. It's good company, it's incredibly quotable, and it's unabashedly comic book. Number 1, Captain America: The First Avenger. What gives Captain America: The First Avenger a slight edge over the Avengers is how it establishes Captain America as the hero we need for our time by pulling him out of our time. It's an unapologetically rock'em sock'em action adventure movie that feels like a throwback in the best way possible. When Marvel head Kevin Feige talks about how their movies can transcend genres, the first Avenger that is transcendence, it's a superhero movie where the character actually feels heroic. Before I saw Captain America, I didn't have any strong feelings about the character one way or another. But after seeing the film, he's become one of my all-time favorites. He's perfectly cast, he's unflinchingly earnest, and the character gets the heart of the heroism, which is what superhero movies should be about on some level. It's not enough to simply say don't be a jerk, it should be about the little guy who jumps on the grenade and knows the value of strength because he's never had it before. That's going to do it for today's video, guys. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like on the video and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our videos in the future. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.